Okay, so we've got this headline that really caught our eye.
Yeah.
Major changes to Canada's open work permit regulations. What affects you?
Right.
And it's that what affects you bit that we really want to dig into today.
Sure, sure.
You know, you're out there maybe thinking about coming to Canada, or you're already here on an open work permit, and suddenly you see this major changes thing.
Yeah, it definitely makes you sit up and take notice.
Exactly. So our mission today basically is to figure out why this headline is so important
Right.
and what it might mean for, well, you.
Absolutely. And I think the first thing to remember is that the term major changes when it comes to immigration, they don't throw that around lightly.
No.
So when we see that in a headline, that's a pretty big deal.
Okay, so before we even get into the specifics, just the fact that they're calling these changes major,
Yeah,
that tells us something,
it really does.
like a warning siren or something.
Yeah, like a big flashing light.
Okay, so remind us real quick, what is an open work permit at its heart?
So basically, an open work permit gives you the flexibility to work for almost any employer across Canada.
Right.
Unlike some other work permits that tie you to a specific job.
Yeah, this one's more open.
Exactly. That's the whole point.
Got it. So why would these major changes be such a big deal then?
Well, because open work permits are a major pathway for people to come to Canada and work.
Right.
So any big shifts in how those permits work, that could affect a lot of people
Oh, okay, I see.
and the labor market as a whole,
Yeah.
potentially.
Okay, so even without knowing the exact details, we can already see this is important.
Exactly.
And that's kind of the point of today's deep dive.
Yeah, it's more about understanding the significance
Right.
of this headline.
More than getting lost in the weeds.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so historically, when we've seen these major changes to open work permits in Canada, what kind of things have they focused on?
Well, there are a few key areas that they often look at. One big one is eligibility criteria.
Uh-huh.
So who can actually qualify for an open work permit in the first place?
Right, so the requirements might change.
Exactly. And that could involve changes to the types of individuals who are eligible or the situations that would allow someone to get an open work permit.
I see, so like the qualifications could change.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Another thing they often look at is the duration of the permit.
Oh, okay.
So how long are these permits being issued for? Are they making them longer, shorter?
I see.
That can have a big impact on people's plans.
Sure. So basically, someone listening who is here on a work permit, this could mean their permit might not be renewed.
Potentially. Yeah.
Or if someone is thinking about coming here, it might be harder to qualify now.
Possibly, yes. It all depends on the specifics of the changes.
Right, which we don't have yet.
Exactly.
Okay, any other big areas where they typically make changes?
Yeah, one more is the conditions attached to the permit. So, for example, they might add new restrictions on the types of jobs someone with an open permit can take.
Oh, interesting.
Or, maybe there are new reporting requirements, things like that.
So basically the rules of the game could change.
Exactly. And those changes could be pretty significant.
Okay, so if you're someone with an open work permit or thinking about getting one, you really need to pay attention to these major changes.
Absolutely.
It's not just like a little administrative tweak or something.
No, these are big shifts that could really affect your life in Canada.
Right. And that's what we really wanted to get across in this deep dive.
Yeah, to raise the alarm, so to speak.
Exactly. Because we don't have all the details yet, but the headline itself is enough to tell us.
This is important.
Pay attention.
Yeah. Do your research.
So what's the big takeaway for our listeners today?
I think the big takeaway is that the landscape of open work permits in Canada is changing.
Yeah.
And those changes could be pretty big.
Right.
So if this is something that affects you, you need to stay informed.
Exactly.
Don't wait for someone to tell you what's going on.
Go out and find out.
Exactly. Go to the source.
And where should people go for that information?
The best place is the official website of Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, or IRCC.
Okay, RCC.
They'll have all the latest announcements and details about these changes.
Perfect. So there you have it, folks. Major changes are coming to Canada's open work permit regulations. We don't know exactly what those changes are just yet, but we know they're going to be important.
Yeah.
So do your homework, stay informed, and make sure you're prepared for whatever comes next.
Absolutely. The future is in your hands.
And that's a wrap on today's deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. And to our listeners, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.